According to the 2020 National Electrical Code, all electrical outlets in bathrooms, kitchens, garages, and outdoor areas must be protected by GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter protection. This includes both lights and outlets. The NEC does not mandate that lights be on separate circuits from GFCI outlets. However, it does permit the installation of dedicated GFCI outlets for lights, which would prevent the lights from turning off if the GFCI breaker trips. Therefore, having the outlets and lights on the same GFCI breaker is not a code violation. However, having the lights turn off when the GFCI breaker trips can be inconvenient. If desired, an electrician can install dedicated GFCI outlets for the lights in the bedrooms and bathrooms. Moving on to vanity light bars, the NEC stipulates that all fixtures must be installed in a junction box. The junction box is essential for providing support and protection for the fixture and the electrical connections. A simple blue inset on the end of the Romex is not considered adequate protection for the fixture. It is highly recommended to have an electrician install a junction box to properly support and secure the vanity light bar. In summary, it is not a code violation to have outlets and lights on the same GFCI breaker. However, installing dedicated GFCI outlets for lights is recommended to prevent them from turning off when the GFCI breaker trips. Also, all fixtures must be installed in a junction box to ensure safety and compliance with electrical codes. The purpose of a GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter, is to protect people from electric shock. It works by monitoring the current flowing in a circuit. If there is a difference of even a few milliamps between the outgoing and returning current, the GFCI will trip, quickly cutting off the power. This difference usually indicates that some current is leaking to ground, potentially through a person. GFCIs are especially important in areas where water is present, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoors, because water can significantly increase the risk of electric shock. When a GFCI trips, it means that it has detected a ground fault. It is crucial to identify and correct the cause of the ground fault before resetting the GFCI. Common causes include faulty appliances, damaged wiring, and moisture in electrical connections. Regularly testing GFCIs is also important to ensure they are functioning correctly. Most GFCIs have a test button that simulates a ground fault, causing the GFCI to trip. It is recommended to test GFCIs at least once a month. If a GFCI fails to trip when tested, it should be replaced immediately. Now let's delve a bit deeper into junction boxes. A junction box is an enclosure that protects electrical connections from the environment. It also provides mechanical support for the wiring and helps to prevent accidental contact with live wires. Junction boxes are typically made of metal or plastic and come in various shapes and sizes. They must be installed in accordance with the NEC and local codes. When installing a junction box, it is important to choose the right size for the number and size of wires that will be contained within it. The NEC specifies the minimum box fill requirements, which must be followed to ensure that the wires are not overcrowded. Overcrowded boxes can lead to overheating and potentially cause a fire. It is also important to properly secure the junction box to a wall or other support structure. The box should be mounted so that it is accessible for future maintenance and repairs. All wiring connections within the junction box must be made with approved connectors and wire nuts. The connections should be tight and secure to prevent loose wires, which can also cause overheating and electrical hazards. Furthermore, when working with electrical wiring, it is crucial to always turn off the power at the circuit breaker before starting any work. This will help to prevent electric shock. It is also recommended to use insulated tools and to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as rubber gloves and safety glasses. If you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Electricians have the knowledge, skills, and experience to safely and correctly install and repair electrical systems. They are also familiar with the NEC and local codes, ensuring that all work is done in compliance with these standards. Regarding the specific situation of having lights and outlets on the same GFCI circuit, there are a few advantages and disadvantages to consider. Firstly, having everything on one circuit can simplify the wiring and reduce the initial cost of installation. However, as mentioned earlier, the main disadvantage is that if the GFCI trips, everything on the circuit will lose power, including the lights. This can be a safety concern, especially in bathrooms or other areas where good lighting is important. Secondly, having separate circuits for light and outlets can provide greater convenience and safety. If an outlet trips, the lights will remain on, allowing you to safely investigate the problem. However, this approach will typically be more expensive due to the additional wiring and components required. Ultimately, the decision of whether to have lights and outlets on the same GFCI circuit depends on individual preferences and priorities. If convenience and safety are paramount, then separate circuits are the better option. However, if cost is a major concern, then a single circuit may be acceptable, provided that the risk of losing power to the lights is understood and mitigated. When upgrading or replacing electrical fixtures, it is always a good idea to consult with a qualified electrician. They can assess your specific needs and provide recommendations based on the NEC and local codes. They can also ensure that the work is done safely and correctly, minimizing the risk of electrical hazards. In addition to GFCIs and junction boxes, there are many other important aspects of electrical safety to be aware of. These include proper grounding, surge protection, and the use of arc fault circuit interrupters of size. Grounding is a safety measure that provides a path for straight current to flow back to the electrical panel, helping to prevent electric shock. Surge protection devices, SPDs, protect electronic equipment from damage caused by voltage spikes or surges. Size is similar to GFCIs, but they are designed to detect arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires. Arc faults occur when there is an unintended electrical discharge between two conductors, such as a loose connection or damaged wire insulation. By detecting these arc faults, a size can quickly cut off the power and prevent a fire from starting. The NEC requires a size in many areas of the home, including bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms. It is important to understand the purpose and function of these safety devices and to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained. Furthermore, regular electrical inspections can help to identify potential problems before they become serious hazards. A qualified electrician can inspect your wiring, outlets, and other electrical components to ensure that they are in good condition and comply with current codes. They can also provide recommendations for upgrades or repairs to improve the safety and efficiency of your electrical system. It is important to remember that electricity is a powerful force that can be dangerous if not handled properly. By following these safety guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can help to protect yourself, your family, and your property from electrical hazards. In Jacksonville, Florida, like in other areas, adherence to the National Electrical Code is crucial for ensuring safety and preventing electrical hazards. Local amendments or interpretations of the NEC may also exist, so consulting with a licensed electrician familiar with Jacksonville's specific regulations is always a good idea. They can ensure that your electrical system meets all applicable requirements. When it comes to GFCI protection, remember that the NEC mandates it in areas prone to moisture, like bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor spaces. This protection extends to both outlets and lighting fixtures. While it is permissible to have lights and outlets on the same GFCI circuit, the inconvenience of losing light when the GFCI trip should be considered. If this is a concern, dedicated GFCI protection for lighting circuits can be installed. Regarding vanity light bar installations, the NEC is very clear about the requirement for junction boxes. These boxes provide crucial support and protection for electrical connections, preventing damage and reducing the risk of fire or electric shock. A simple blue inset on the Romex is not a substitute for a proper junction box. Always ensure that a junction box is installed when mounting a vanity light bar or any other electrical fixture. When working with electricity, safety should always be the top priority. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work yourself, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. They have the expertise and experience to handle electrical installations and repairs safely and effectively. They can also ensure that your electrical system is up to code and functioning properly. Regular electrical inspections can also help to identify potential problems before they become serious hazards. An electrician can inspect your wiring, outlets, and other electrical components to ensure that they are in good condition and comply with current codes. They can also provide recommendations for upgrades or repairs to improve the safety and efficiency of your electrical system. Remember, electricity is a powerful force that can be dangerous if not handled properly. By following these safety guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can help to protect yourself, your family, and your property from electrical hazards. Firstly, always turn off the power at the circuit breaker before starting any electrical work. Secondly, use insulated tools and wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as rubber gloves and safety glasses. Thirdly, never work on electrical wiring in wet or damp conditions. Fourthly, inspect wiring for damage before working with it. Fifthly, use the correct size and type of wire for the application. Sixthly, make sure all connections are tight and secure. Seventhly, follow the NEC and local codes. Eighthly, when in doubt, consult with a qualified electrician. Ninthly, test GFCIs regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. 10thly, install surge protection devices to protect electronic equipment from voltage spikes. Ignoring these safety precautions can lead to serious injury or even death. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity. Understanding the requirements for GFCI protection and junction boxes is essential for ensuring electrical safety in your home. By following the NEC and local codes, and by consulting with qualified professionals, you can create a safe and reliable electrical system for your family. Remember that electricity is a powerful force that should be treated with respect. Take the necessary precautions to protect yourself and your property from electrical hazards. If you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety, do not hesitate to contact a licensed electrician. They can provide you with expert advice and assistance. Also, remember to keep electrical panels and equipment free from obstructions to ensure proper ventilation and access for maintenance. Avoid overloading circuits by plugging too many appliances into a single outlet or extension cord. Overloaded circuits can overheat and cause a fire. Consider using power strips with built-in circuit breakers to protect against overloading. Keep electrical cords away from heat sources and sharp edges. Damaged cords can create a fire hazard. Replace frayed or damaged cords immediately. Ensure that all electrical outlets and switches are properly covered with face plates. This will prevent accidental contact with live wires. Install tamper-resistant receptacles (TRRs) in homes with young children. TRR have internal shutters that prevent children from inserting objects into the outlets. Be aware of the location of underground utilities before digging in your yard. Contact your local utility company to have them mark the location of underground cables and pipes. Never use water to extinguish an electrical fire. Use a fire extinguisher that is specifically designed for electrical fires. Ensure that your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are working properly. Test them regularly and replace the batteries as needed. Have a qualified electrician inspect your electrical system at least every 3 to 5 years. This will help to identify potential problems before they become serious hazards. Finally, educate yourself and your family about electrical safety. Understanding the risks and how to prevent them can save lives.